Welcome back to the final episode of News Corner for 2018. There is one more week in the year, but both Steve and I will be taking a bit of time off to get away from the benchmarks and actually see our families for once. We do have a bit of content planned throughout the remainder of 2018, but we're only aiming for a video every second day rather than every day, like we've been doing for, well, almost a year now. We hope all of you guys watching have a great holiday period as well. Take some time for yourself and wind down after a busy 2018. Anyway, there have been a few interesting topics this week to finish up News Corner for the year, so let's get into them. AMD has just scraped in before Christmas with the announcement of the Athlon 220GE and Athlon 240GE, which we've been expecting, I guess, for a little while now. Like the already released Athlon 200GE, the newer 220GE and 240GE are 2-core, 4-thread CPUs with 3 Vega compute units. The only real benefit the 220 and 240G provide are increased clock speeds. The 200G was a 3.2 GHz part, while the 220G pushes up to 3.4 GHz, and the 240G increases that to 3.5 GHz. So very modest improvements there, and as before, there is no boost clock functionality. All Athlon CPUs come with a conservative 35 watt TDP, which I guess makes sense considering their low core count and modest clock speeds. In terms of pricing, there's a $10 difference between the CPUs. The 200GE is $55, the 220GE is $65, and the 240GE comes in at $75, and all are available to purchase today. The 220 and 240GE are kind of pointless products, if I'm honest. AMD's Athlon lineup are supposed to be multiplier locked, so you can't just overclock a 200GE up to the level of a 220G or 240G. That would justify the price difference. You know, if you can't overclock them, you're left with spending a bit more cash to get a bump to clock speeds. But right now, you actually can overclock the 200GE. We recently did a video showing that on MSI motherboards with a certain BIOS revision, the multiplier for the 200GE has been unlocked, so you can overclock it just like any other Ryzen processor. I believe some Gigabyte boards have unlocked 200GE overclocking now as well. So with very little effort, it's currently possible to overclock the 200GE into a 240GE. So there's really not much point buying the $75 240GE when you can just spend $55 on the 200G and do some quick overclocking. It's actually even better than that because we were able to overclock the Athlon 200G to 3.8 GHz, which is 300 MHz higher than what AMD provides with the stock Athlon 240G. So while you can overclock the supposedly locked Athlon CUs, there's really not a lot of point to buying the more expensive versions of this processor. A quick update to the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2060 situation. Marketing materials have been discovered by Hardware Lux, showing that the upcoming Turing-based GPU will indeed use RTX branding. Previous leaks have indicated the card will have 1920 CUDA cores and 6 GB of GDDR6 memory. With RTX branding being used, you'd think there's a chance these cards will include RT cores in some form, and thus, the card will support ray tracing. But this hasn't been confirmed and we don't know at this point. Considering how the RTX 2070 performed with ray tracing enabled, an RTX 2060 with fewer RT cores would struggle even more. Rumors are currently suggesting the RTX 2060 will launch in early 2019, perhaps a couple of weeks into January, and that's also what we're hearing. This sort of time frame would line up with a CES announcement, so stay tuned during CES for potential mid-range Turing unveils. Another leak appeared recently, this time concerning AMD's upcoming Ryzen Mobile 3000 series APUs. Confusingly, the Ryzen 3000 series for mobile processors would actually be 2nd gen Ryzen Mobile, not 3rd gen, because AMD launched the first Ryzen Mobile parts as the 2000 series. In any case, it's not really related to the leak, I guess. New Ryzen Mobile APUs were actually spotted last week by Twitter user API-SAK, with Geekbench results potentially revealing the Ryzen 3 3200U, Ryzen 3 3300U, and Ryzen 5 3500U, although API-SAK also believes there will be a 3700U and 300U. These processors are set to be quite similar to Ryzen Mobile 2000 series APUs. The 3200U, for example, is a 2-core 4-thread part like the 2200U, but with a 100 MHz increase to the base clock. Same story for the 4-core 4-thread 3300U and 4-core 8-thread 3500U. These APUs were allegedly benchmarked in a collection of HP laptops, though there's probably not a lot of point reading into the exact benchmark numbers at this stage. As always, you should take these reports with a grain of salt, but this one is looking quite quite likely in our opinion. The original Ryzen mobile CPUs were built using AMD's first-gen Zen architecture on 14 nanometers, so it would make sense that the next products would be Zen Plus on 12 nanometers, as AMD's APUs have lagged behind the server and desktop CPU lines as far as architecture and process tech are concerned. Moving from 14 nanometers to 12 nanometers would only allow for small clock speed gains, and that's what this leak is suggesting. We can then expect 7 nanometer Ryzen mobile parts at the end of next year or perhaps early 2020, we really don't know. At this stage though, we are expecting to hear more information about new Ryzen mobile products at CES in January 2019. Intel has made a minor announcement regarding production capacity increases for a number of their fabs. As we all know, Intel are struggling to keep up with 14 nanometer demand, so the company has pledged to expand their capacity at 3 fabs across the globe, specifically their facilities in Oregon, Ireland, and Israel. These expansions are set to begin in 2019, and although Intel aren't detailing exactly what they will be doing, you'd think the focus would be on 14 nanometer capacity. Intel also announced that they are making good progress outfitting Fab 42 in Arizona with DUV and EUV tools for their upcoming 7 nanometer process set to come after 10 nanometer, although there's no word when that technology will be ready. Also, next-gen storage and memory technology will be worked on in the company's New Mexico manufacturing facility. LG is getting ready to unveil a selection of new gaming and workstation grade monitors at CES 2019. The most interesting of the new products is the UltraGear 38GL950G, a 38-inch ultra-wide with a 3840 by 1600 resolution and 144Hz refresh rate. We've had 3840 by 1600 monitors before, but this is the first time we've seen one of those panels capable of a 144Hz refresh, making it suitable for gamers. In fact, the monitor in general could be highly attractive as it offers a higher resolution and refresh rate than existing 3440 by 1440 ultra-wides at 120Hz. This new LG panel uses the company's nano IPS technology, allowing for 98% DCI-P3 gamut coverage, and this particular model will feature G-Sync along with 450 nits of peak brightness. LG is also set to show off the ultra-wide 49WL95, and yes, the product name actually is ultra-wide in this case. This looks similar to the Dell U4919DW in that it's a dual 27-inch 1440p monitor. In other words, it's actually 49 inches of monitor in total at a 5120 by 1440 resolution, offering the equivalent of two 27-inch 1440p monitors side by side in the one display. With just a 60Hz refresh rate, it's designed for productivity, featuring 99% sRGB coverage and 350 nits of brightness. No word on a firm release date or pricing for either of these displays, but we can expect to learn a bit more about them at CES. Final topic for this week, bit of a shorter news corner because I guess not much has been happening. A beta version of Steam has hinted at Xbox crossplay integration. Some games on Steam like Rocket League do already support Xbox crossplay, but it seems the latest Steam beta has several pieces of code that directly reference the Xbox, potentially paving the way for easier crossplay between PCs and Microsoft's console without using the awful Windows Store. I'm also hoping that one day Xbox consoles will just run Steam, considering they're basically x86 PCs and should be able to support the full library of Steam games. I think that would be really awesome. Maybe Microsoft has something in the works for the next generation of Xbox consoles, which apparently aren't too far away. Anyway, that's it for this week's News Corner and the final News Corner of 2018. Subscribe for more News Corner episodes, which we'll be bringing back in 2019. Consider supporting us on Patreon to get access to our exclusive Discord chat and monthly live streams, and I'll catch you in the next one.